The knock on the front door came just as the storm rolled across the quiet neighborhood of Asheville, North Carolina. When Nathan opened it, he froze. Standing in the pouring rain was the last person he ever expected to see again, his ex-wife, Rachel. Her hair clung to her face, her hands trembled, and the woman who had once walked away without looking back now stood on his porch with tears in her eyes. After 6 years of silence, she whispered that she needed a favor. Nathan looked at her for a long moment before answering with words that surprised even him. He quietly said that he would only help if she granted him one request first. In that instant, 2 broken lives stood at the edge of a decision that would change everything. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories that remind us humanity still exists. Nathan had spent years rebuilding a life from the ruins of a marriage that had once meant everything to him. He worked as a carpenter, restoring old homes one careful board at a time, almost as if repairing broken wood somehow helped repair the cracks inside his own heart. His small house overlooked the Blue Ridge Mountains, and although the view was breathtaking, the silence inside those walls often felt unbearable. There had been a time when laughter echoed through every room. There had been dreams of children, family vacations, and growing old together. But those dreams disappeared the day Rachel packed her belongings, left a wedding ring on the kitchen table, and admitted she no longer loved the life they had built. Nathan never hated her. He tried. Friends told him he should. They reminded him of every lonely birthday, every holiday spent by himself, and every sleepless night wondering what he had done wrong. Yet hatred never found a permanent place in his heart. Instead, there remained an empty space filled with unanswered questions and quiet memories that refused to disappear. Rachel looked older now, not because of age, but because life had clearly carried burdens she had never expected. Her confident smile had vanished. Her shoulders sagged beneath invisible weight. She admitted that the man she had left Nathan for had abandoned her after only 3 years, leaving behind mountains of debt and a 10-year-old boy named Caleb who desperately needed help. Caleb was not Nathan's son, but Rachel explained that the child had become her whole world. Recently, doctors had discovered Caleb needed a complicated heart surgery, one that insurance refused to fully cover. She had exhausted every option. Every loan application had been denied. Every friend had reached their limit. Nathan was the last person she could ask. Nathan listened without interrupting. Every sentence reopened wounds he believed had healed. Every apology reminded him of years he could never recover. Yet behind Rachel's desperate words he noticed something else. She wasn't asking for herself anymore. She was asking for a frightened child whose future depended on strangers finding compassion. That was when Nathan made his unexpected request. He told Rachel he would help with every dollar she needed, but only if she agreed to let him meet Caleb first. He wanted to know the child whose life he was being asked to save. Rachel hesitated, confused by the condition, but eventually agreed. The following afternoon, Nathan walked into the children's hospital with emotions he couldn't explain. Caleb sat quietly by the window, sketching mountains in a small notebook. He looked pale but smiled politely when Nathan introduced himself. Within minutes, the nervousness disappeared. Caleb spoke excitedly about airplanes, baseball, and his dream of becoming a park ranger someday. He admitted he was scared of surgery but tried to be brave because he didn't want his mother to cry anymore. Something shifted inside Nathan during that conversation. He realized he wasn't looking at the painful reminder of Rachel's choices. He was looking at an innocent child who had done nothing wrong. Over the next several weeks, Nathan became part of Caleb's hospital journey. He drove Rachel to appointments, repaired broken furniture in her apartment without mentioning it, and quietly paid the remaining medical bills after selling a collection of antique woodworking tools that had belonged to his late father. Those tools had been priceless to him, but somehow saving a life felt more valuable than holding on to memories. Rachel watched in disbelief as the man she had hurt the most continued showing up without expecting anything in return. She saw kindness she had once taken for granted. Every late-night hospital visit, every encouraging smile for Caleb, Every cup of coffee Nathan handed her while she cried reminded her of the husband she had failed to appreciate years before. The surgery finally arrived on a cold December morning. The waiting room seemed frozen in time as hours crawled by. Rachel sat with her head buried in her hands while Nathan quietly prayed for a boy who wasn't connected to him by blood but somehow felt connected by something stronger. When the surgeon finally emerged with a smile and announced the operation had been successful, Rachel collapsed into tears. Without thinking, she wrapped her arms around Nathan as gratitude overwhelmed both of them. Life slowly began returning to normal after Caleb recovered. The boy regained his strength, returned to school, and even started helping Nathan build birdhouses in his workshop every Saturday. Those afternoons became the brightest part of Nathan's week. Caleb laughed more than Nathan had heard anyone laugh in years, filling the old workshop with joy that had long been absent. One evening, Rachel confessed something she had carried for years. She admitted that leaving Nathan had been the greatest mistake of her life. She had mistaken excitement for happiness and temporary passion for lasting love. She expected Nathan to tell her it was too late. Instead, he quietly explained that forgiveness and reconciliation were not always the same thing. He had forgiven her long ago because carrying bitterness was destroying him. But rebuilding trust required time, honesty, and actions far greater than words. Months passed without promises or dramatic declarations. Rachel focused on becoming the mother Caleb deserved. Nathan continued being the steady friend both of them needed. They slowly learned that healing doesn't happen through grand gestures but through countless ordinary moments of patience, sacrifice, and grace. Eventually, Caleb asked a simple question while the three of them watched the sunset over the mountains. He wondered why people who cared about each other sometimes spent so much time apart. Neither adult answered immediately because there was no easy explanation. Nathan finally smiled and said that sometimes people have to lose something precious before they understand its true value. That answer stayed with all of them. Years later, their story wasn't remembered because an ex-wife came asking for money. It was remembered because one man chose compassion over revenge. Nathan discovered that helping Rachel wasn't about rewriting the past. It was about refusing to let yesterday's pain determine tomorrow's kindness. And in saving one little boy's future, he unknowingly rescued pieces of his own heart that he thought were gone forever. If this story touched your heart in any way, please take a moment to like this video, share it with your family and friends, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that inspire hope, forgiveness, and compassion. Special request: before you leave, please comment, "Kindness always finds its way back." We'd love to know how many people still believe that forgiveness can change lives. Sometimes the greatest favor we can offer someone isn't money, time, or even forgiveness. Sometimes it's the courage to choose love when life gives us every reason not to. And perhaps that's the quiet miracle that changes hearts forever.